Well, 2021 was better than last year, wasn't it? I mean, not by much, but it was a step in the right direction. Less hysteria, more reality, and a bit more just chill. Well, apart from the film industry, because, to be honest, much of the first half of the year felt like it was leftover stuff from last year that was just wasn't released at the cinema. You know, due to all the cinemas being closed. So they just kind of held them back to this year for a buffer while they work on stuff for next year. But anyway, as I always say, if I only ever do one video, then let it be this one. And as you know, I'll be going by the now established method of going month to month at the cinema releases, talking about the films I've seen, and maybe I'll throw a comment or two about the films that I haven't seen but are probably worth a mention. So, you know what? Let's go! January. Outside the Wire. Yeah, this was a solid film. I was engaged and it held my attention for 2 hours. The film was fast-paced, the plot moves quickly, and at no point was I bored or wishing it would hurry the fuck up. The premise was somewhat interesting. The Falcon, or Anthony Mackie, or whatever his name is, plays a cyborg whose motivations you can't really work out. Who's he working for, or is he working for anyone at all? And spoiler alert for the ending, he thinks his own creation was a mistake and that he's the face of the West's never-ending wars and wants the US to see that by trying to blow shit up. Okay, son, go for it. And it's the near future, so you can kind of imagine this happening at some point. But by 2036, having super-duper cyborgs running around, nah, that's too close to be real. Or even come true. The Gump robots, maybe, in like 20, 25 years' time, possibly. But for now, the best thing on the ground in war is still humans. It's got messages of war is hell, war is messy. In conflicts, people exist in many grey areas. And also, who can you really trust? But it's a competent film with some intrigue and some fast action. Given a few years, you'll forget about it, but it's a good way to kill 2 hours. 6 out of 10. Wrong Turn. I mean, it's well shot and the locations look nice, but I kind of get the feeling that this is weirdly familiar. Oh, wait. Yeah, I guess a community that deliberately cuts itself off from the world and lives in primitive, backwards conditions is a welcome change from the antagonists being inbred cannibals, because the hillbilly cannibals thing is a tired trope, and it really is dead. But even then, I saw everything coming before it happened. Maybe I'm just desensitized to Western horror now. 5 out of 10. February. Judas and the Black Messiah. Well, it does seem that true stories, or stories that are based on true events, have the most compelling characters. Being British and only having a cursory knowledge of the American Civil Rights era, it was an utterly engaging story. And yeah, I know it's been dramatised for storytelling purposes. But man, does this film remind you that the police get away with some old bullshit. And they still do today. We have got people in jail right now over tweets. But anyway, I got to hand it to everyone in this film. Fantastic acting all around, especially Lakeith Stanfield. His acting as Bill is just bravo. 8.5 out of 10. Willy's Wonderland. I've come to the position that most people have, that it's just impossible to hate Nicolas Cage. The man doesn't say a single fucking word in the whole entire film. And yet, I give more of a shit about him and his quest to clean the creepy restaurant than anyone else in the film, who are fucking one-dimensional nobodies. The part that made me laugh the most was his watch beeping when it's time for him to take a break, and he just randomly walks off halfway through a fight scene. Yeah, I know it's a lazy cash grab on Five Nights at Freddy's, where the animatronics come alive and try and kill you. Is Nicolas Cage meant to be the silent video game protagonist? It is an unmitigated pile of crap, but if you're okay with wasting 90 minutes, it does the job. 3 out of 10. March. Cosmic Sin. I don't have much to say on this one, but yeah, it's decent enough sci-fi action film. Bad guys are bad, good guys are morally ambiguous. You know, I was getting a Starship Troopers vibe for some reason, or maybe I just wanted to watch Starship Troopers. Bad guys are a hive mind species of warriors that can infect people and use their bodies for their own purposes. Good guys don't really have any character moments or character development. It's a bit like Outside the Wire, in the way that I look at it and I see potential, but the thing they both lack is stronger character writing. You know, sometimes an actor or an actress is only as good as what's written for them, but if you don't give them anything to work with or flesh out the fictional person, then the actor's got nothing to go on. Both films have cool ideas at their core, and it's a decent enough plot, but it's missing those compelling characters. The one thing that can turn a good film into a great one. You might rank it lower, but I give it 6.5 out of 10. Nobody. Yeah, this is just a no-brain action flick. An old assassin trying to get back into the game. Half-decent fight scenes, only an hour and 25 minutes, and yeah, the main character has plot armor because if he died halfway through the film, that would be a shit ending. And it's also fucking hilarious seeing an 80-year-old Christopher Lloyd shuffling around the battlefield with shotguns, and then the three heroes do a back-to-back during the warehouse fight, all to the song You'll Never Walk Alone, and I just couldn't stop laughing. And of course, the ultimate bad guy is the last enemy standing, and he dies within a couple of seconds, which is a bit anticlimactic, but oddly realistic, unlike the rest of the big fight scene. It's stupid, but it's entertaining. 6 out of 10. Zack Snyder's Justice League. I'll keep this one short, unlike the film. Is it better than the original release we got? Yes, absolutely. Definitely for sure. Does it justify being 4 fucking hours long? No! Why is a film this long? Why do I have to take an intermission? It's a superhero film. It's not Gone with the Wind. Jesus Christ. Godzilla vs. Kong. All that artwork in the intro sequence that people spent drawing and shit, you can only see each one for like a couple of seconds. You know, after an hour and 25 minutes, I was getting a bit confused, and I was thinking, does Godzilla have unlimited nuclear power now? Because his blue explodey breath just kept coming, and I thought he needed to charge it up every once in a while, and it was kind of cool to see a Godzilla and Kong tag team against Mechagodzilla for a few minutes. And at the end of the day, it was always going to end the way that it did. There's no way you would have one of them just straight up kill each other, because you'd upset the fans. And I'm glad that it was under 2 hours. Director Adam Wingard is now my new hero. Oh, and as a minor note, still no one cares about the human characters. But when all is said and done, it's a solid 7 out of 10 for me. In April, there was bugger all, really. And what there was released, I don't really care about and have no intention of watching. So we'll move on to May. Army of the Dead. Yeah, I'm still not sold on Dave Bautista. This is the best I've seen him act, though. A few more films and I'll be cool with him. He's definitely got more range than Vin Diesel. Ultimately, this film was a waste for the characters. They all died. and I assume the daughter did too, because there's no way that you could be that close to a nuclear blast, no matter how small, and not get radiation poisoning and potentially die soon. It felt like it was unnecessarily padded. It didn't need to be 2.5 hours. You could have cut out 30 to 50 minutes and lost nothing really from this film. Just because a film is longer, it doesn't mean it's good. Get an editor to wade into this one with some pruning shears and release a 1 hour 50-minute cut of the film. I would be all for that. 5.5 out of 10. Moving on to June, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. Apparently these films are still going. Not as entertaining as La Llorona, but the cliff scene where Lorraine falls, presumably pulled by the demon, and then Ed has to pull her back up. My god, the CGI cliff just looked so bad. Just look at this shit. It was so fake, and I loved it. And the demon randomly screeching can make phones lose their connections or whatever. Rah, rah, die, die. Standard demon shit going on. The old bag that they cast to be the evil in this film, Satanist, witch, or whatever, yeah, she definitely looks the part. I mean, I can't take that away from her. It's okay, I guess. Probably scarier at the cinema. Based on true events, apparently. But I didn't find this as entertaining as The Curse of La Llorona. So, 6.5 out of 10. Werewolves Within. Okay, short and sweet review. This was fun, if really obvious. Apparently it's based on a video game which I have never played and never actually heard of. But it's okay for 90 minutes, so 5.5 out of 10. In July, there was The Tomorrow War. Oh, hallelujah! Characters the writer made me give a shit about. Finally! That's all I ask. The story works, everything connects, and people can act. Thank you, Zack Dean, for writing this. I applaud you. Sci-fi, time travel, aliens, shooting things, blowing stuff up, and characters I give a fuck about. This seems to be a rare gift in Hollywood lately. And J.K. Simmons is up in this film, still kicking ass, when he's not after pictures of Spider-Man. I enjoyed every moment of this film, and the alien design was something new and different to me as well. Watch this if you have Amazon Prime. It's free. I won't spoil it. Plus, how could you not like Chris Pratt? And I do love me some time travel. 8.5 out of 10. Black Widow. For me, the idea of a Black Widow film now doesn't work as well. It should have been released before Endgame, so that we have backstory on Natasha Romanoff and know what she's been through and make us have some sympathy for her, which would then in turn give her death/sacrifice in Endgame more weight. But instead, they use that slot in the release schedule for a Captain Marvel film. Why? It's not like people hadn't been asking for a Black Widow film since she first appeared in Iron Man 2 way back in 2010. Nah, you're just going to throw this film out there now, after we already know what happens to her in the end, rendering watching this movie mostly pointless. Troll Hunters, Rise of the Titans. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, my fiancé made me watch this, and considering I've never seen a single other piece of media to do with this franchise, while I was watching, I pretty much predicted every single thing that would happen in the film, and each time I kept being right, it just made the film funnier and funnier. Like, I literally made a joke about Pacific Rim, and then 20 minutes later a giant robot appears and fights a fire kaiju, and I just couldn't stop laughing. It's just so stupid that it was amazing, or the film was rubbish and I'm amazing. I just don't know anymore. 7 out of 10. The Green Knight. Why is Gwain's own mother trolling him? Sean Harris and Dev Patel are related in this. Sure, okay, whatever. It's fiction based on stories of things that never happened. I love the camera work, I love the locations, the film is beautiful to look at. It's just, the story of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight isn't an amazingly exciting story. The moral to the original story is about being honest, and I don't know how the hell you managed to pad that out into 2 hours, mostly with shots of him walking to places, random choir singing, and a lot of the time Gawain seems to be on some kind of acid trip. The fox that follows him was cute until it started talking, and the design of the Green Knight looks awesome. Again, like I say, the film looks great and the acting is fine, but it's a bit too arty for me. I could have seen past that if the film was a bit shorter. In fact, you know what pisses me off the most about this? It's the fact they didn't even finish the story. It just cuts to a title card and the credits roll before the critical point in the story. Fuck you! 2 hours of arty, pretentious bullshit, and you can't even be bothered to finish. In the original story, Gawain confronts the Green Knight, but doesn't take off the magic green sash that protects him from harm. And as it turns out, the Green Knight never intended to harm Gawain, and the axe wouldn't leave a mark if Gawain honoured their agreement and was honest. But because Gawain didn't take the magic sash off, the third strike of the axe leaves a scar on his neck, a mark of his dishonesty. Gawain returns to Camelot ashamed of his failure, but instead the other knights decide to honour him and all wear a green sash as a reminder to always be honest. But instead, you treat us to random choir singing and fucking montages? Screw you! I was going to give this 7 out of 10, but now it's annoyed me and I'm going to give it a 6. August. The Suicide Squad. This was better than the previous Suicide Squad, but the same level of dumb fun. You're never looking for anything deep in these films, just a lot of stupid humour, killing background extras and just blowing things up, and it does that quite admirably. One thing I will mention is that a lot of the promotional material I saw quite heavily featured or mentioned Peter Capaldi as the Thinker. And trust me when I say, he doesn't really have a big part in this film at all. His role is very minor. In fact, Polka Dot Man has a bigger screen presence and is more vital to the plot than Capaldi. And having said that, I still enjoyed this as dumb fun. A stupid film. 6.5 out of 10. Free Guy. It's no Ready Player One, but still, it's Ryan Reynolds, and in the last few years, he has had very few misses when it comes to films. And I've always thought that self-aware AI was an interesting concept. It looks good. No doubt a lot of work went into the CGI and special effects. Ryan Reynolds is on great form. Yeah, it's not particularly deep, but then again, what is these days? It was an interesting action comedy. 8 out of 10. September. Malignant. Well, this was fucked, and I love it. However, one thing I do have to point out is no one would ever park next to an edge or a cliff like that. What kind of dumbass would do that when you realise you're a character in a horror movie? Well, that's up there with investigating weird noises or going into a creepy house. It was perfect length. I wouldn't want it any longer, because after a while I was getting to the point where I was thinking, okay, it's time for the reveal now. You can't keep going on and not explain it. And then they did. Good. The first half of the film is definitely better than the second half. It gave me something new, plus the chase scene between the bad guy and Detective Shaw was good. I was thinking, dude, no policeman would chase a suspect that far. I mean, props to him for being dedicated, I guess, and good work from the stunt doubles. I wasn't taking it 100% seriously, but it did give me quite a few laughs. so 7 out of 10. Prisoners of the Ghostland. For fuck's sake, I just don't think that Nicolas Cage cares anymore. He's still got the same beard that he had in Willy's Wonderland. You know what? I salute you, Nicolas Cage. Keep cashing those paychecks. And yet again, his character has no name. It just seems to be his thing currently. It's set in a post-apocalyptic Japan time period, and it's just random as fuck. Nothing makes any sense. His left ball gets exploded off about 40 minutes in, and then it's an overly long music-filled montagey flashback for the next 10 minutes, and then a disappearing RV trailer that's just gone in half a second through a fake sand cloud. Honestly, what the hell is this film trying to do to my soul? It's like I'm watching Zardoz again. An hour in, we actually get some classic wild-eyed Cage acting, and I just bust out laughing uncontrollably. The action is serviceable, but the rest of the film is just trash. 2.5 out of 10. October. Venom, Let There Be Carnage. I liked this, and I don't care what the critics say. It's just one of those stupid films that gave me fun and action for 90 minutes and entertained me. It knows what it is, and it doesn't take itself seriously at all. The writing is funny, Venom is obviously the best character, and Woody Harrelson is hamming it up big time as the villain, and it's just hilarious. Sometimes that's all I want, to be entertained. If I'm entertained by action or visual effects or captivated by story and characters, I don't care how long it is. But can I put this out as a statement to Hollywood? Can we please keep this trend of 1 hour 30-minute films going? Do you remember when films were that long? People had fun, and they weren't sitting in the movie theatre for 3 hours being bored out of their fucking minds. And there's nothing much to say on Venom 2. It's just made for the viewer to have fun, and I respect that. 8 out of 10. Yeah, anyway, moving on to November. The Eternals came out, and I don't care. I had no interest in it to begin with, even when it was announced. Next. The Resident Evil remake. Why? I thought we were free from this. 4 years ago, I thought this franchise was over, and now it's back again with a fucking reboot. Oh my god. In December, there's Matrix Resurrections. Why? What is the point of bringing this series back? I know that we all love Keanu Reeves, but that doesn't really justify bringing back every film franchise he's ever been in. Stop it. And last minute additions will be Spider-Man No Way Home and The King's Man, so I won't have time to record that part of the video, so I will put the scores on screen somewhere, or just a slide. That'll do. Yeah, that's fine. That's what the score is. The end. And here we are, arriving at the conclusion section of the video once again. Film of the year goes to Judas and the Black Messiah. It was very close between this and the Tomorrow War, but I've decided to go with this. If you want entertainment, then watch the Tomorrow War. If you want story and compelling people, then this is what you want. Some people say that the most compelling characters are based on things in real life, and in this case, it's true. But Daniel, could you please just emote more during the quiet and emotional scenes? When he's in speech mode, he's fine. And when he walks into like a dangerous place that he shouldn't be, he's got the swagger, which is great, that's fine. However, Fred Hampton is a fascinating person from history, and I'm not asking for a Shakespearean performance in every single scene. Just emote a bit more. Dude, I know you can act. What is this? And that's why I say that Lakeith Stanfield got robbed of his Oscar for Best Supporting Actor, because his acting in this film was far better. Worst film of the year goes to Prisoners of the Ghostland, because it was just arse. Like, I don't really have anything else to say. Normally I get mad and elaborate on why something is bad, but I don't really have any major negative feelings towards this. It's just bad. In fact, Prisoners of the Ghostland gets 2.5 out of 10, and it's objectively the worst film I saw this year. But the film that pissed me off the most was The Green Knight, and that got 6 out of 10. And the Attention Deficit Award this year goes to No Time to Die and Halloween Kills and Ghostbusters Afterlife. You know, No Time to Die because I really don't care. Like, Daniel Craig should have said no to another film. In fact, he was on record saying that he would rather cut his own wrists than fucking do another James Bond film. So why has he done another one? I do not know. Probably money. And Halloween Kills because Jamie Lee Curtis. Why? Why is she still doing Halloween films? Why is she encouraging the filmmakers? Just let old franchises die. And also Ghostbusters Afterlife because I have no real investment in the film. I'm not a hardcore Ghostbusters fan. I love the first film. I've seen it a bunch of times. I think it's a classic. But, you know, I've seen the sequel once, I think, only once, and it was meh. I've still not seen the 2016 Ghostbusters remake reboot thing, although my fiancée has, and she told me that watching it made her want to break things. And that's it for this year. Yeah, I know this video seems a bit more slapdash than usual, but to be honest, I don't care, and barely anyone watches these anyway. So good luck out there in 2022. I hope we all have a better year and the world doesn't explode. That would be good. There's still a chance that could happen, but you never know. Safe, I'm gone.